Helicopters up tracking this suspected DUI driver.
City of Los Angeles, within the city limits, so that's LAPD, and you'll see different shifts in agency. Warrant when they lit them up. There's the 10 right there, and you can see how light the volume is there. So we'll see. He's just going to continue on Vermont Avenue there. This is in the city of Los Angeles. LAPD is the lead agent on this. Doing a pit maneuver, as you know, Marla, because you've seen many of these as well, is dangerous in itself, because you have to make sure that you have an open roadway. You're not going to endanger any traffic, either on the side that the pursuit is occurring on, or the following, or the opposite side. But we're coming up on intersections here where there's a little bit more energy and connect and activity, and this, he's slowing down a little bit, through these lights. I think maybe he's looking in his rearview mirror and he's saying, "Wow, there's no red lights behind me now."
Stopped.
So perhaps he's going to back
off. This is interesting. So he stopped, has his arm. The suspect has arm out the window, seemingly speaking to the drivers who are trying to make a left turn in the turn lane.
Yeah, and just so you know, I'm probably about 10 or so seconds behind you.
Okay, so there is a little bit of a delay.
I just saw his hand there as you said it. So I'm watching video that you're getting. You have more information too, and he was like doing a little peace sign. It looked like what you were referring to other motorists. So. Bottom line, this is really dangerous, and this is a good time if you are ever in a situation like this, whether we're dealing with a COVID-19 crisis or any other situation, that if you are in an area where this occurs, back off, pull over to the right, don't try to be a hero. Make sure that you give the law enforcement agencies involved in this, and a suspect who could be armed and dangerous, distance between you and them.
Well, and the other thing, okay, you're going to see him, see the suspect come up to this next intersection. Somebody's minding their own business, walking as they should be in the crosswalk to cross this street here. Once again, stop, but now making gestures to the vehicle next to theirs. Going, regardless of the red light, making its way through this intersection, and we can see that it's Jefferson there, so it's Vermont and Jefferson.
I'm seeing that, yeah.
Okay.
And that's our extreme nav, which is great.
Right.
I mean, our Skyhawk helicopter model, as you know, is completely equipped with some of the state-of-the-art technology here, and you can see exactly where we are crossing through that intersection at Jefferson. You can see the businesses that are nearby, and we have this mapping system now that really allows us and our viewers to cover situations like this that are really dangerous to the public. And I would say that today it's more dangerous because the volume is light. And I've mentioned that during my morning traffic reports. And the CHP, they're saying people are going way too quickly, 75, 80 miles an hour, because the 405 through the Sepulveda Pass isn't gridlock anymore. It's wide open. So people feel that they can just rip down the freeway at a high rate of speed, and instead of being in gridlock where they're going 10 or 15 miles an hour. And please interrupt me if you see something 5 or 10 seconds before me.
No worries.
That's where I'm at.
I just saw the Bank of California Stadium sign at this next intersection that the suspect just went through here. The other thing is, you brought up a good point, is we don't know if there's more than one person inside this vehicle. We don't know. Those are details that we still have to wait to find out. But, you know, you can only, I know that pursuing officers always assume that this person is armed because you need to.
You have to, the worst scenario, you're absolutely right. Armed, mentally not quite there. And those officers have adrenaline rolling through their system, and they want to make sure that they bring this to a safe stop and not endanger any of the innocent public out there. And this is a very busy area of Los Angeles here as they roll down Vermont Avenue here. And there's bikers and pedestrians and a lot of activity, and the wind is blowing too for the palm trees, which I saw, because we have I'm bringing out my meteorology in here, but we have a cold, fast-moving weather system approaching Southern California right now, and you can see that the driver, the suspect, is not yielding, but at the same time, now that it is if we widen out just a little bit if the camera operator could widen out a little bit to see if there's any units behind them, that would be really helpful as well, to see if they've completely backed off. Because the Los Angeles Police Department, knowing that they may agitate that driver, they may make that driver act in a way that could endanger the public of Los Angeles in a way that could hurt them, they'll back off, and they will monitor that vehicle from the sky to make sure that vehicle backs off on speed and doesn't hurt any of those people. And right now we can see definitely the driver's passenger.
Yeah, you're going to see here. You're going to see here in just a second that the suspect does the peace sign, gestures the peace sign out of the window here, close to the double yellow lines here. This is where because we have the tight shot, we don't see up ahead how bad it is in terms of traffic. So yes, throwing the peace sign out the window there.
There's a helicopter.
Yeah. Oh, now going over the double yellow, you'll see some near misses here in a congested area, Vermont Avenue, and I'm trying to see the cross street that now stopped at this intersection because there is somebody slowly walking across the. It's Vernon. Oh, we just lost the shot there. I know we'll work to get that back, of course. So it's Vermont and Vernon is the last shot that we saw. Skyfox, little bit of a feed issue here. We can say, though, that Rick, that according to Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, that it's just one person, just the suspect that we saw there, gesturing the peace sign out the window there, one person in the vehicle. So while we work to reboot and get another shot for you for this pursuit that's going on, we can tell you that it's just one person wanted for a suspected DUI driver. This all started, let's say, about 20 minutes ago in the city of Carson. It was picked up by the LA County Sheriff's Department. CHP picked it up, and now Los Angeles Police Department is also in on this. I just got distracted as we're getting the shot back up because I just saw the Bank of California Stadium. Go ahead, Rick.
So essentially what happened there, our camera system took a little glitch, and we rebooted, and we're back online here, which is great. And it started in Carson, and the legal jurisdiction is the LA County Sheriff's Department, and that's why they were the lead on this pursuit. And now we have LAPD involved because we're in the city of Los Angeles. So the bottom line is that they are doing whatever they can. They're talking to each other to make sure that we bring this to a safe end, that no innocent bystanders get hurt at this time, and hopefully that's the case, because he was driving rather erratically, but it seemed like he backed off a little bit, right, Marla, based upon the fact that he may have not seen any units behind him.
Right, and when we lost the shot there, it was now in South LA, essentially, having made their way through Hollywood. We actually can re-rack some video to show you in case you just picked it up, so let's take a look at here. Yeah, so there were several near misses. At first, of course, I commented, it's always one of those, timing is everything. I commented that at least this suspect was driving, straight and not necessarily erratically, and right when I said that, of course, that's when the suspect started going over into oncoming traffic. And now we do have our shot back, so let's bring you back to the live pursuit now in South LA. LAPD, the lead agency here, of a suspected DUI driver. Trying to get the official, Rick, make and model here of this vehicle. Looks like a minivan.
Yeah. It's older because you could see it on the roof of that minivan. It's a little bit worn and torn there. And 51st Street there, which the heart of LA, South LA here, and not driving as erratically because, again, I believe that there's a sheriff shift. When you see the green, that's an LA County Sheriff's helicopter. When you see black and white, that's LAPD. 50 seconds, so meaning he's traveling northbound here, and we'll see his behavior is a little bit more mellow, I would say. He's not driving as erratically because perhaps he's not seeing those units in his rear view mirror. And again, if we widen out just a little bit with the photographer in the back there, we could see if there's any LAPD units, any sheriff's units, and we're really not seeing that right now. It almost looks like he feels a little more comfortable that, hey, I think I may have gotten away. And here's the situation, Marlon, and I mention this all the time when we cover these pursuits. 18%, according to the LAPD, at least in the city of Los Angeles, 18% are actually able to evade the police. And that's not just because the police don't want to continue to follow and track and pursue those suspects. It's because that they don't want to endanger the innocent lives of Los Angeles, because there's people who are going to be crossing a crosswalk through an intersection where they have the green and the good to go, and they know that whatever they're pursuing, whoever
just goes through. You're going to see just goes through an intersection, driving seemingly okay, and then a CPA officer coming the other way, or LAPD,
so
then does a U-turn to get on his tail. Yep. Yes.
Exactly. Perfect point there. So once he sees, this suspect sees, and it does look like a male, and I see what you just said, and that's the sheriff's vehicle there, that then he's going to get a little bit more anxious. He's going to start picking up speed. He's going to start driving more erratically. And that's what we see with these suspects who are being pursued for whatever they are being pursued for. But the bottom line is, the point I was making is that they say that roughly just south of 20% of pursuit suspects get away. They don't really get away. The LAPD will back off because they don't want some innocent child or mom or dad to get hit in an intersection trying to cross in a crosswalk. So they try to make it safe, because they know the demeanor of these individuals who are being pursued. They know that if they don't, hey, look behind me, I don't see any red lights. I can't really see a helicopter. I think I'm good. So they back off in their speed, and they know, the officers know, that they can still track them from the air, because they will pull back in such a way that the suspects can't see those helicopters from the air. So they will make sure that they position themselves in such a way that the driver can't see it. They feel that they're more safe, but whether it be an LA County Sheriff's helicopter or an LAPD helicopter or any other agency, they will make sure that they track that vehicle all the way to the point that that suspect decides to stop. And when they stop, they're going to be on it.
Okay. Well, we just saw another black and white join and getting a little closer here.
Another sheriff, and it's a sheriff's, and it's a sheriff's vehicle. So it's all sheriffs right now, even though it's LAPD. So whatever occurred with that suspect, and you mentioned it earlier, Marla, it happened within the jurisdiction of LA County.
Okay, so last known location, Hoover Street, still we're on Hoover, West Gage Avenue, a blue minivan. Officials are telling us little about the suspect other than to say it's an Hispanic male. And at last track, we saw the slower speeds there was about 20 miles per hour.
Hand gestures,
right.
Chilling, right?
Right,
yeah.
Throwing the peace sign out. There's another intersection they go through, and then you saw another black and white. You'll see that in your picture in just a minute. For those who are just joining us, this is a police pursuit. There's both agencies, in fact, Sheriff's Department, LA County, and also LAPD, tracking this suspected DUI driver picked up in the city of Carson, made his way into Hollywood, now through South LA and the Vermont Slauson area. Last known location, Gage Avenue and Hoover. Oh, now we are getting word, by the way, that they may try some spike strips soon enough here.
Yeah, and this is a situation, and unfortunately, fortunately, because of the crisis we're dealing with, and so many people are adhering to the safer at home order because of the COVID-19 crisis, that there's less people on the road. It's not congested. Mm-hmm. So these officers out who are 24/7 still patrolling our streets, we salute them and all first responders during this crisis, that they will have an opportunity, a better opportunity, because the volume is light, because there's less pedestrian traffic, to throw in those opportunities to bring this to a safe stop, whether it be a spike strip or maybe he's going to try to pin him here. You could try to pit pursuit intervention technique, where they tap the left or right side of the back end of that minivan there, spin him out, make him enable, and bring it to an end.
So
and we'll see what happens. We
went from full pursuit to tracking mode. They backed off for a few minutes because it got simply just too dangerous, and now we see the units now trailing behind. We got word that there were 2 ground units trailing, but now in our wider picture, we saw that there were certainly more than 2 officers in pursuit of this suspected DUI driver.
Yeah, it's good. And watching this from above, it seems like all the other motorists are adhering to what's happening. And I think in this situation, because the volume is so light, that there is a police presence with lights and sirens, so that everybody's warned. I think that perhaps if we were in more, quote, normal times and there was a heavier volume out there, that they may back off because they know that they're going to endanger people. But now that there's less people on the roadway and they know that if that suspect hears and sees the sheriff's helicopter from above.
Okay, you're going to see a left turn. You're going to see a left turn here. So off of Hoover now, we're going to try and get a better location. This is officially South LA. So last location was on southbound Hoover. Now made a left-hand turn. We're working to get
on a side street. And I would love it if our extreme nav system could be employed here again, because it shows speed, it shows the exact street, it shows everything right now.
88th Street.
Okay, 88th Street. So, again, South LA, City of Los Angeles, but it's the LA County Sheriff's Department that is the lead agency on this pursuit right now, because that is where this initial pursuit started and where that warrant started. So this unit, you could see getting a little closer here, and the driver's getting more agitated because he knows that there's an officer behind him. There's a deputy behind him. So he's not as mellow off the gas. He's hitting the gas harder. He's going to be driving more erratically because he wants to get away, because he feels he could be one of those 18 percentiles in the city of Los Angeles that gets away from officers. And the main reason why, it's not because our officers aren't
getting
trained to
closer
stop
here. And you'll see in the picture a chopper, I believe it was LA County Sheriff's Department helicopter that just flew by our picture under Skyfox, making now a strong left turn from 88th Street, from 88th onto that main street, and now another left turn here. So we're working to get a better location.
And you're right. It was LA County. You're LA County, absolutely right, Marla. It was, remember, green, LA County, black and white, LAPD. And he's driving way more erratically now, and I know I'm a few seconds behind you, but he's driving more erratically now because he knows all those units are behind him, and that's the situation here. South LA, City of Los Angeles, pedestrians still out there, although the volume on freeways and the surface streets are much lighter because of what we're dealing with.
Just the demeanor, though, you're going to see a tighter shot here. Oh, I believe you might be giving the helicopter the middle finger, perhaps. That's what I just saw there. But body language, like laid back here. Making these left and right turns. Last location now, South Figueroa Street and West 92nd Street. And just really looking like not a care in the world, despite what's going on.
I think, again, covering these over the years, Marla, and you know, because you've seen it, you've been here in Los Angeles for years as well now, and it's one of those situations where I think that these suspects have seen these situations unfold themselves, and they know how it is, and they know that they're on TV, and they play to that to a degree. And
spike strips out just now with LA County deputies, it looked like, and that failed. You'll see that in just a moment. So a spike strip attempt here at that intersection, and that looked like it failed, even though it looked like the vehicle did go over the spike strip.
It may have disabled the tires there. Good for LA County Sheriff, to know where he's going to go, and to throw that. That was a really good, and he's still peace signing and everything. But we'll see if any of those tires have been disabled. This is a very unique situation, and that's what they want to do. The LA County Sheriff's Department, the LAPD, any agency that's involved in this. All they want to do is
it looks like there's some front end tire damage for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
So way to go on the spike strip.
Too.
Yes. So you're gonna get it.
That was a good role, and to pre-position those deputies in a way that they could deploy that. That's what's amazing too. Oh, absolutely. There's no question.
Yep. It's only a matter of time.
Tires, it's
going to be driving on rims.
It's going to be disabled. And he feels it, the driver feels it, so I would say that I would be surprised if this doesn't come to an end. Male driver, as you said, Marla, and you said that it's just, they believe it's just the driver, right?
Exactly, just one person.
There's tinted windows, and we don't know, and it's a somewhat larger than average vehicle, meaning that it's a minivan. He's peace signing again, and it's an older vehicle.
I'm counting that you're going to see a wide shot here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe.
Yeah.
Units behind him at this point.
And it's slowing down, so it's possible, right, that this could be coming to an end, because it doesn't appear that he's slowing down because of traffic. It appears that he's slowing down because there's something wrong with his vehicle.
So we're still in
hopefully
South
this
LA.
will come to a safe end.
The last location is West 104th Street and South Main Street in South LA.
Yep.
Now slowly going through this next intersection here. Obviously, with that tire damage, as we said, it's only going to be a matter of time until he's driving on rims and has no other choice but just to come to a stop.
And thankfully, you could see it's pretty empty out there. There's an LA County Sheriff's helicopter. I saw more sheriff units on the ground there. There's not a lot of foot traffic. There's a significant reduction in vehicular traffic because of what we're dealing with. A much heavier situation than what we're covering now, but this is a situation we do have to still cover for our city because this is a danger to our residents. And we will continue to bring you situations like this through whatever we deal with in the coming days and weeks. We'll make sure that you are connected to us. So please keep it here on Fox 11. Stream us. FoxLA.com. We will keep you covered.
Yeah, slowly moving along here. And, you know, it's nice to see that, you know, obviously that the spike strip was a success. It's not over yet. But then we have to contend with what happens once it does come to a stop, because Rick, that's a whole nother thing. That's
a good point, because that could turn into a standoff, Marla. You know it very well. It's such an awesome point you made that you could have a situation where he decides, nope, I'm not putting my hands out. I'm not getting out on the ground. I'm not adhering to the commands from the officers. I'm not laying down on the asphalt.
Rick, you're going to see a tight shot here. More peace signs, sunglasses on, looks like black hat.
Wheel is down. He's just having a good time with it.
Yep. Another peace sign.
Yep.
And yeah, the back wheels too. So probably all four at this point, we can assume.
So the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department they threw out that strip and did a wonderful job. They saw the travels of this suspect. They pre-positioned officers in different areas. This is our tax-paying money at work. And they had those officers communicating with other officers. That helicopter in the air that we saw, the green one, that's LA County Sheriff's Department, that, hey, let's throw it out here. And they did, and they are disabling this vehicle, and we're very hopeful this is going to come to a safe ending. Still a lot of people outside, which I'm seeing, as you are, Marla, which isn't safe. Go inside, because you don't know what you're dealing with here. This guy is erratic. You don't know if he has a weapon. You don't know what's going to happen. Bring yourself and your children, anybody inside, if you're in this neighborhood here in South LA, so that you don't endanger yourself or your family. Well,
and it's also, we have to remember, maybe this person, the suspect, lives in this area. That's why they're driving to because now we're in a residential area in South LA. And you just never know. And we do know, though, that at least 3 of the tires are damaged. So, again, we say it, but it's true. It's only a matter of time until this vehicle will will come to a stop, because it has no other choice.
And he's going to continue, because he's going to try to stay out of custody as long as he can. That's how we see these situations. He's going to think, maybe there's still a chance. Maybe I'm going to be able to get away. Maybe something's going to happen. Maybe there's going to be a block between me and that lead unit from the LA County Sheriff's Department that will allow me to ditch this vehicle, to run into the neighborhood, and not be taken into custody.
Well,
he's a little ambitious, and he's just a little ambitious and thinking, I can see just by his behavior, as you've seen, that he feels that, hey, whatever, peace. And I don't know, but there's still a lot of too many people out there on the road.
Sure. So now we're going through some school crossing. Just we saw the signage there on the road, and South LA still. I don't know if that was just garbage or if that was a wind. I couldn't tell if he was throwing things out of the car.
I've seen that too. Again, another wonderful point you're making, Marla. Is that it looks like he may be discarding stuff out of his vehicle. Is that possible? Oh. I'm not sure.
Okay, so now we're hearing northbound San Pedro Street and East 92nd Street. Last known location here.
The heart of South LA, San Pedro Street is east of the 110 freeway through South LA. So if you're familiar with South LA, running from downtown to the 105, and we start at 1st Street in the heart of downtown LA, and we go all the way down to the 200 streets down towards San Pedro, because San Pedro is the southern end of the city of Los Angeles. So it's sort of the midway-ish point, but before the 105 freeway here.
And you're going to see an intersection with deputies outside of their vehicle, so they were obviously there pre-positioning.
And they may know a little bit more about this than we do, because, as I always mention, some of these suspects love to go to the neighborhoods that they're connected with. They have intel, those deputies, LAPD, whatever agency's handling this, they know a little bit more than you and I do as we watch this and we broadcast this. Important information to our viewers for Fox 11 that this suspect may live in this area, or they may know someone in this area, or someone in this area called them and said, that's my friend, that's my nephew, that's my son, that's my husband who is going through all of this, and he's in our neighborhood. Please, they may be pleading like, just don't hurt him, even though that they know he's endangering the public. And they're giving them, those people, the friends and family members of this suspect, may be giving critical intel to our law enforcement agencies about who they're pursuing, so that they know what they're dealing with. And that's possible, and that intel may be allowing our deputies, our LAPD officers, as we see this disabled vehicle, this minivan here, tracking him, and this car is slowing down. We can see the shadow from the LA County Sheriff's helicopter, all the LA County Sheriff's units that, continue to work in this time of crisis that we're dealing with. Again, we're not making light of what we're dealing with at COVID-19, but these are situations that we're still going to cover for you, because it endangers you and your neighborhood if, in fact, you live in these neighborhoods.
So 98th Street and Wall Street, current location in South LA, back on a major street here versus the tight residential streets that we just saw the suspect wind his way through as he goes through yet another intersection, seemingly slower and slower. We can tell you that at least two tires have suffered significant damage. And now we're seeing people out with their cell phones recording this as well.
We do. Yep. That hasn't changed, right? I mean, stay inside, everybody, please. Stay at home, stay safe, stay healthy, and especially in a situation like this, because we just, and even when we will be in healthier times, because we will be, it's so important that if you encounter a situation like this, you just don't know what we're dealing with. There could be a very erratic suspect in a vehicle or anything else that we're covering that could endanger you or your family. So please go inside and keep yourself safe. This vehicle clearly, as you said, Marla, is disabled beyond.
Oh, yeah. You're going to see here the tight shot of the tires, and on the left-hand side, on the driver's side,
I see it, yeah.
Riding on the rims, it looks like at this point.
No question.
Right.
He's on flats. He's on two flats. I mean, look at that. That tread is just flying, and he continues to throw up his peace signs, and he just continues to roll, and hopefully his car will eventually stop, and sheriff's deputies will be able to take him into custody, and nobody else will be injured at this point. The bottom line is the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department did an amazing job at throwing out that spike strip, as you alerted me to a few seconds before I saw it, and they deployed that, and they disabled this vehicle, and that is coming to fruition here, where this vehicle will no longer be rendered drivable, and hopefully that will come at a point where nobody else is endangered, and he will clearly give up.
It looks like by choice almost stopping, but then, of course, not the case, and almost ran into two units there as they make a right turn. Last location, East 85th and South Main.
And he's doing loops here, and we'll see if one of these deputies, or if there's LAPD still involved, because we are in the city of Los Angeles, so they are connected to this situation as well. It's amazing, though, to see, Marla, there's still so much vehicular traffic, even though it's lighter than average, given the times that we're in.
Right, the safer at home.
And we know that there's so many people that are working and keeping our shelves stocked and at all those businesses that we need and we rely upon. So that people who are coming out that you're seeing lining the streets, please, if you live in South LA here, please just go inside and don't make it any worse. Don't endanger yourself.
Sure, it's become a spectacle here. And as you alluded to, definitely making loops in this neighborhood, because we saw the same tire shop, ironically a tire shop on the corner there, as two of his tires are blown out. And, ooh, tight squeeze here. You're going to see this through this surface street, this residential street.
A couple seconds behind you, that bumper's damaged, and they do this sometimes because, and again, you know this because we've covered these pursuits together, Marla, is that they hang out in neighborhoods that they're familiar with. They may have a friend here. They may have a family member. He may have his cell phone on his lap with speaker on or Bluetooth saying, "Hey, come on, help me out. I need to get away," or what do I do?
Turning down an alley here, you'll see that as
with
well.
Dogs and near miss. I saw that probably 5 seconds after you did.
So an alley to the next major street here. There's some people out there. Yeah, there's plenty of people coming outside their homes. This is definitely as if he's, alerting the neighborhood.
And again, I'm hopeful that there's an opportunity for the LA County Sheriff's Department through their airship, through LAPD. I see this. Look at all these people out here. Social distancing is not happening with this pursuit at all. Go inside. Please stay safe. Please keep yourself and your family healthy. Not just, I saw that bike rider there that you probably saw a few seconds before I did. This has got to stop. This has to stop. And hopefully there will be a moment where one of these units tracking this suspect here, and remind me again why this guy's being pursued, Marla?
DUI, suspected DUI, suspect picked up in Carson. We picked this up. We've been on the air now for about 45 minutes, picked it up shortly after 3 o'clock. When we picked it up on westbound Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, so now made his way into the South LA area, known location as East 95th. Oh, tire just gone. We just saw tire just fly off.
Yeah, I just saw that.
The tread just took off as well. East 95th Street and Wall Street, so suspected DUI driver.
So essentially what that means is that the driver was driving erratically, and they assumed that he was under the influence, and they lit him up, and he didn't yield. So then they lit him up, and he didn't pull over, and that's how a pursuit
crossing through a dangerous intersection here, over the double yellow lines, weaving through the oncoming traffic, turning left here. We'll figure this out in terms of the major street here, 88th Street and North Main Street. And yes, you're going to see this, that both tires are gone. So absolutely just riding on the rims on the left-hand side of the vehicle.
Wow, that is so dangerous. So the bottom line is, and you're going to start to see some sparks from those rims without any tread on them at all. I talk about hydroplaning. What about this, where there's no tread on the tires and the asphalt there? So if there's any way we can get our extreme nav system up, which our Skyfox is equipped with, that would be great, because then we can. Because I'm looking at intersections, and I know we're in South LA, and we're close to the 10 and the 110 still, it looks like. This is a major north-south.
Just going under the 110, right? This is Manchester Avenue and South Main Street. Potentially getting on to the 110. Is that what's happening?
So LA County Sheriff's still there. I saw the helicopter there. That is the 110, and you could see the express lanes. I saw that. So that's an east-west thoroughfare.
And let's keep in mind, 2 out of 4 tires.
South 110. Okay, so he's going to go south on the 110 freeway towards San Pedro's, towards the south end of Los Angeles here, from downtown LA towards South LA on the 110 that is wide open compared to any other Thursday afternoon.
Riding on 2 rims.
We're riding on 2 tires, and he's not going to last long. I mean, who knows? We'll see, but I would be surprised if we don't start to see some sparks from those rims. And
how have we not thus far?
Exactly. I'm perplexed by that as well. He's still rolling, and why he's rolling? Because he still thinks he could be part of the 18%. I always say he thinks that as long as I'm not in custody, as long as there's a slim chance that I can get away, I'm going to continue to. And he is so casual with his demeanor.
The window is now up.
Yeah, and oh, there he goes. Yep, I'm a few seconds behind you as always. So Marla and I are watching these pictures live, but because I'm at home, I'm seeing it just a few seconds later than she is. So she has the most important intel straight up. So she'll tell me, like, here's what's coming up, Rick. So that's what you guys are dealing with as you watch it at home. Again, a police pursuit through South LA, staying in the same general neighborhood there for the last 5 or 10 minutes. Now on the 110 Freeway Southbound, a suspected DUI driver driving as high rate of speed as he possibly can down the 110 Freeway, the Harbor Freeway, southbound, on a day that would never be like this unless we were dealing with the COVID-19 virus. So you could see all the units trailing.
Right.
LA County sheriffs primarily, because they were the initial unit that tried to light this guy up, because as Marla informed me, it was because of a failure to yield because he was a suspected DUI driver.
So has the 110 open to himself, essentially, here? On the wide shot, you definitely see the units behind him. But southbound 110, approaching Century Boulevard, having gotten on the 110 from Manchester in South L.A. A high rate of speed, you mentioned, Rick, about, as far as we understand, about 45 miles per hour, given the fact that it only has 2 tires at this point, riding on rims, and that's all because of about, I would estimate, 15 minutes ago when L.A. Sheriff's deputies unleashed spike strip on surface streets in South L.A., and that was a success. You know, absolutely got to give them credit for that precise spike strip there. Blew out 2 of his tires, but nonetheless, the pursuit continues. I mean, we were saying, 15 minutes ago that we thought that this was coming to an end, and sure enough, here we are, almost an hour into this pursuit. Southbound 110, and it looks like may have...
He's going to make the transition. It looks like possibly, I think that's the 105 transition there, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be making the bend towards the westbound side of the 105 towards LAX.
Okay. Westbound
and again,
105.
Everybody at home, this is so unique in that this pursuit is taking place in a time which we are seeing the lightest volume on our freeways that we have in years. Even post, I was mentioning earlier, Marla, post 9/11, we saw it a little bit, but I've never seen this. I was born and raised in this town. I like to think that I know this city and these freeways and the evolution that we've taken here in Southern California over the years. But this is unique in that on a given Thursday afternoon in the month of March, you're never going to see this.
Right,
You're never going to see this.
We're approaching what would be rush hour. It's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. L.A. is known for its traffic, and the suspect has the freeways completely to himself, which,
and good and bad, because good in that there's less opportunity for people who may be adhering to the stay-at-home order, that they're staying inside and not out on the roads. But
it's
then
only
at the
the
same
essential
time,
workers out there.
Because the volume is so light, this suspect, this alleged DUI suspect, that's why they lit him up, and he didn't pull over. So why he didn't pull over? We assume that he did not pull over for a given reason, that he is able to make his way at a very high rate of speed, still throwing up the peace signs, still throwing. And I'm shocked what model vehicle this. I can't tell if it's a Honda but it's one of the minivans, and the 2 left tires.
The staying power of those rims.
It's unbelievable.
It really is unbelievable.
I'm seeing I am starting to see a little bit of smoke come from them. So this may come a point where the wear and tear on the pure rims it's compromised in a positive way. It's being helped by the other 2 tires that aren't completely disabled on the right side of the vehicle.
Now, Rick,
so that's helping it maintain it.
I'm getting word that several ground units are en route, again, because of the LAX airspace. You know that well. You fly around in Skyfox for a living, and so explain to us what that means.
So that's the Bravo. That's essentially the airspace in LAX that we need to make sure that our commercial air traffic can make their way in and out of our nation's second busiest airport, which has been far from that, obviously, over the last several days. Our volume of flights incoming and outcoming has decreased every day. There was well over 400 flights that were already canceled.
Oh, you're going to see more peace signs, perhaps? The window's now open.
105 west, heading towards Sepulveda, heading towards the 405.
In the Athens area.
Yep. Whether he takes that 105 all the way to the point where It ends at Imperial Highway and goes all the way to Dockweiler Beach. Speaking of which, that's exactly where the COVID-19 RVs have been set up to house people who can't quarantine themselves. That is an area that is highly policed right now. He could make his way up the 405 north or south at this point. He could exit at Sepulveda and make his way underneath the tunnel at runway 25 left or right. We don't know. But I will tell you this, I'm watching those wheels and I'm seeing a little more smoke, and perhaps there may come a point where he's going to lose control.
Yep. So now we're in Hawthorne officially, westbound 105 at Crenshaw.
By HHR, by Hawthorne, not international, but municipal airport, off of Crenshaw Boulevard. To the north of the 105 would be the SoFi Stadium, where construction continues despite the fact of this stay-at-home order. I've showed that every morning from up in Skybox. Some of the things I always show from up there, how we're adapting. That stadium continues to be built and still pushing towards that July 25th opening.
Yep, there's Hawthorne Boulevard, Prairie Avenue.
Yep, and the next big interchange will be the 405. So this suspect, this alleged DUI suspect, will have the opportunity to make the transition to the north or south 405 or exit at Sepulveda. It looks like he's veering to the right. There's Prairie Avenue, Hawthorne Boulevard. So let's see. Slowing down a little bit. Very little volume, which is good because that means you guys are staying at home. And that is where you need to be. Please stay home, stay healthy, stay safe. And we're covering this just because this could be a situation that could endanger your neighborhood. We are not making light of the bigger story that's going on today across Southern California and across our country and across our world.
Well, that bigger story is why this freeway is so wide open.
Exactly.
Because most everyone's at home, as we've been ordered to do. We need to be safer at home, practice social distancing. LA County Public Health Department announced 421 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number to 1,216. Today, and so it is nice to see that people are practicing safer at home guidelines. So that is why these freeways are so wide open as we're tracking this pursuit suspect, westbound 105 approaching the 405.
And the LA County Sheriff's helicopter up there, you see the rail system in the middle of the roadway there, the 105. That's the green line. That's our Metro Green Line. And MetroLink implemented today because of the COVID-19 crisis, a significant reduction in traffic. Metro Rail has seen that as well.
And now CHP officers.
Yeah, and that's what will happen, which is great. Here's the situation: whenever a pursuit like this enters another jurisdiction, that jurisdiction is going to be alerted. And Inglewood, Hawthorne has their own police department. The CHP monitors our freeways. So when, and you could see those emblems, I know that I'm a couple of seconds behind you. It says that, hey, we're on the 105 here. This is heading westbound on the 105 towards the 405. We're heading towards the coast. This driver, this suspect, with those, I'm amazed at how this vehicle is still moving with those two tire treads completely wiped out on the driver's side, the front and left driver's side. And maybe now, because of the light volume, perhaps the CHP, they're going to interject that pit maneuver, that pursuit interjection movement, where he will, or she, that officer there will try to spin that vehicle out, bring it to an halt, and bring this to an end. And that doesn't mean it's going to be to an end, that it'll mean that vehicle will be disabled. The bottom line is the sheriff's shift is up. We have the LA County Sheriff's Department on this. We have the CHP on this. LAPD has been on it as well because it's in their jurisdiction. This is a vehicle that's traveling still as high of a rate of speed as it possibly can with those two disabled vehicles in a westbound direction on the 105 freeway towards the 405, towards LAX, trying to get away, trying to stay out of custody.
So this was picked up in Carson nearly an hour ago, and the suspected DUI driver made his way to Hollywood through South LA. Spent quite a bit of time in South LA, and just crashes, just caused his own crash trying to get off make a last-minute decision to perhaps take the exit here off of westbound 105. So now completely stopped, disabled, and now he has his hands. The airbag was deployed.
At Knapp Street. I see it there, and because he lost control. You cannot control your vehicle with only 2 tires, and finally we got to this point, and thankfully he did that and not endangering anybody else. So it looks like he is. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
He's
arms out, basically surrendering. It looked like by his body language. I mean, he's smashed up against the airbag. We don't know if he was injured in this.
And essentially what they're doing is they're informing him. They're telling him, get out. Hands up. We want to see your hands. We want to see you lay down on the asphalt. There's a protocol here.
At least 6 responding units.
So and the airbag was deployed in that minivan, and I think it was those 2 tires, Marla, that finally brought him to a point where he couldn't control the vehicle the way he wanted to, and that's why he lost control.
I think he's definitely giving some attitude to the officers there.
Yep.
And maybe he's letting him know that he can't open the door, in fact, just because of the impact of the crash and the damage that was caused. Takes off his hat, perhaps to show that he's not hiding anything underneath that. At this point, I mean, Rick, what is the protocol if, in fact, he can't open the door?
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as the officer's there, and it looks like it's primarily the LA County Sheriff's Department, which initiated this pursuit, they see that he is adhering the best that he can to their demands. They will approach him and understand that he can't open the vehicle because it's damaged, and make sure this comes to a safe end. The bottom line is right now, based upon the video that I'm seeing, the live pictures I'm seeing, and you are, this is the Nash Street off-ramp. This is just before the FedEx facility at LAX on the north side of the 105, next to our nation's second busiest airport, that this guy crashed into what we call the Gore point, that point where there's an exit and there's guardrail or K-wall. So there's no other individuals in the line of fire. And I say that not to make it more dramatic, that if there's a point where there has to be a situation where they need to bring this suspect into custody, there's no other vehicles that I'm seeing that are in jeopardy, which is great news. He has a badly damaged car. He lost control because those 2 wheels, the passenger side, front left and back vehicles, there's a number of units behind them. You could see the flyaway transitions there by LAX there, and they got this guy. So it's just a matter of time now. And we've seen this where it takes seconds, and the suspect just say, I give up. And there's other situations where they sit there for 3 or 4 hours and essentially want to, argue with the officers and what have you. Bottom line, his hands are visible right now, which is good.
Right.
As we look at her tight shot, so the officers are looking at that. They're in jeopardy as well.
Well, they have their guns drawn because you're going to see them. We're going to pan over, and officers' guns are in fact drawn. There's eight responding units. While this continues to take place, let's show you, if you missed the impact of this crash here, westbound 105. We can show that to you in the bigger picture here. Yep, just as you said, lost control. Yep, absolutely just lost control and hit that K-rail, and now this is the result of that. The end of this pursuit, nearly 1 hour after we've interrupted your programming to bring you this, picked it up in Hollywood, and now here we are by LAX, essentially, Rick, at westbound 105.
That's right. And watching that video, Marla, now that you saw it, because you saw everything before me and did a great job explaining what was happening, he lost control because those two tires, the front and back driver's side tires, were completely rendered not usable, and he was on his rims there, so he wasn't able to control the car. He hit that buffer zone, that guardrail there at what we call the Gore point, where there's an off ramp or an on ramp, and he damaged his vehicle. And it looks, from my point, that he's just trying to tell the deputies, because those are sheriff's deputies. When you see the uniforms that these officers are wearing, black and white, LAPD. There's CHP there. There's LA County Sheriff's deputies there. They're telling him what to do. He's communicating with them. He may be saying, "Hey, I can't open this door. Look, my hands are visible." That's possible. So he can't open that door to adhere to their commands. And the commands, when we ever see a stop, a felony stop, a situation that doesn't evolve into pursuit, but somebody who's being tracked, and then they get lit up, and then they pull over, and then they said, hey, we need you to get out of the car because we ran your place.
Oh,
and
you're going to see, Rick, here. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt because we're panning over just to show you the backup now on the westbound 105 as a result of this.
Which is good.
Right. Traffic is stopped, of course, as a result while they work this out. But those drivers are stuck, though.
And that's right at the 405. But look, it's only a backup of a quarter of a mile. If this would have been a normal, Thursday afternoon, it would be for miles. There's an LA County Sheriff's helicopter still circling overhead. Those are flyaway transitions. That's the 405 and the 105 down below there. And it's the 105 west, just past the interchange with the 405, where this is coming to an end, right at the Nash Street exit. The Nash Street exit, if you take that 105 and you exit to get to LAX, and you take the Sepulveda off-ramp, and you bend to the right, to the north, and you duck under runways 25 left and right, the Nash Street off-ramp where this is happening is just before that. So bottom line, it doesn't appear that any other automobiles were involved in this, which is great. And also that they're holding that traffic for safety at this point. LAX, and I've been covering this from above too, Marla, because of the COVID-19 situation that we're dealing with, is at a capacity. It's awful in terms of like what we're seeing. And so there's so few passengers, there's so few people making their way through the complex. So there's not that demand for people going, oh, I got to get a flight up for a Friday meeting up to San Francisco, or I want to go see friends. Everybody's staying put. So a silver lining in this? No, it's not. It's a horrible situation. But the bottom line is that there isn't that traffic that needs to get to LAX. All of those, the majority of those deputies down there, those are LA County Sheriff's deputies. They're trying to bring this to an end. They have guns drawn. They're speaking to this man, please get out of your vehicle, put your hands up, get on the pavement, four spread, and we'll bring this to an end. And he's saying, oh, I can't open my door. Maybe he's saying that, or maybe we don't know at this point. But at some point, and it may take some time, because the time is on the deputy's side, and it's LA County Sheriff's Department, because they are the lead agency that initiated this pursuit. What they will do.
Rick, we want to bring up the crash, the impact again for those of us who may have missed this. If you've just joined us in this pursuit, there it is. That moment took out the vehicle right there. This was about maybe 10 minutes ago. We've been on the air for now officially 1 hour. In fact, this suspected DUI driver leading CHP officers, sheriff's deputies, LA police officers in pursuit for the last hour. A spike strip thrown out by LA County Sheriff's deputies took out 2 of the 4 tires. That didn't stop this suspect, though. Continued on through the streets of South LA with several near misses, near crashes. As far as we saw, there were no injuries, but eventually just riding on rims. And then that's when this pursuit then went from surface streets to the 110 southbound from Manchester, and then took the westbound 105 before losing control there in the impact that we just showed you just a couple of seconds ago. And
just past the 405. Just past the 405 again.
Right.
Just to make sure everybody know where this is happening. This is at the Nash Street off-ramp, which is the one off-ramp between the 405. If you're traveling westbound on the 105, between the 405 and the Sepulveda off-ramp, that so many of us have taken to get to LAX. So this is where it's happened, and as Marla said, that there were no other vehicles that were impacted. It does look like, as we look at a tight shot here, that the airbags in this minivan were employed, because of the impact.
So now they're approaching with the shields here.
And they're going to get them. And this is exactly what I said. This is where it's, hey, we're going to bring this to an end. We don't want to disrupt any traffic or anything else that more than what we already have. So these are deputies are
literally dragging him out of the driver's side through the window there, and they are taking him into custody.
He kept just saying, hey, what's up? He has his hands out, and he wasn't. And this is going to come to an end. And I'm glad this came to an end, and in a way that we clear this scene and we get those maybe there's a worker who doesn't. You have to think about the LAX workers right now. This is an area where you have an employee, a mom, a dad, a brother who's heading to the airport, and they're nervous because of what's going on, and they're still.
All right, we're seeing him upright for the first time now, being escorted in cuffs.
Exactly. He's fine.
To one of these.
And this is done.
Right, to one of these units now. The suspect in custody, one shoe on, and it looks like soon enough he'll be put in the back of one of these units and taken off.
And it's good that, again, the point I was trying to make, Marla, is that it's good that they're doing this in a quick way, and that I'm thinking of maybe there's a little bit of a backup, and maybe there's a baggage handler for Southwest Airlines or United or whoever who's trying to get to the airport, who's nervous about working at LAX still, and they need to get to work, and they're already dealing with the anxiety of what we're all dealing with, and they're one of those essential employees.
He's getting unruly here. He's starting to get definitely unruly.
And it's okay, because there's our highly trained deputies that are going to make sure that he's trying to bite him and whatever it looked like, and
well, they got him in the back. They got him in the back of this sheriff's deputy's vehicle here. So, and it's also interesting to note here that in the area of COVID-19, for these the lack of protective gear here for these deputies, fine work on behalf of all of our first responders. All right, Rick, we're going to wrap it up with you. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. We know that you're off the clock, but always on the clock for us here at Fox 11, and we appreciate your navigating with us today.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so for all you at home, thank you for joining us for this latest police pursuit ending here right near LAX, westbound 105, right near the 405. We'll have a complete wrap-up in just a few minutes on the Fox 11 News at 5 o'clock. Until then, we'll return you back to TMZ.
And the deals ought to be had. The